Okay, well, while the volume gets adjusted, let me just make my introduction. My name is Raquel Varela. I'm a volunteer with the TechMap, and I will be just talking through the whole process here tonight. Bathrooms, for anybody that needs to go to the bathroom, if you go out these double doors and then to your right, and then I think it's back to your right, basically you kind of make a U-turn. The bathrooms are back there, so I'm sure that'll be helpful for some of you. There's food out there in the entry, as you guys are aware of. There is a little conference room just to the left of the double doors, which I'll explain why that's important in just a bit. And you may have noticed that people have colors on their name tags. They're to help you talk to them, I guess. So red usually are developers and designers, so anybody that's red, if you're a developer or designer, talk to somebody who needs a developer or designer. If you need a developer or designer, talk to them. Green is investor. I think we all know what that is. Blue, entrepreneurs, so there are probably a whole bunch of blue people here today. And yellow is a student. The TechMap is founded by Ricardo, Johan, and Stefan. You'll see them walking around here. If not, if you haven't already seen them, but they are the founders of the TechMap. Let's see what we have here. Okay, the format for tonight. We typically have pitches and reverse pitches. Tonight we are going to have. Tonight we won't have any reverse pitches, but a reverse pitch is basically an individual that's pitching to anybody who is looking for someone with their skill set. But we don't have any tonight. We will have just pitches. The presentations will be 4 minutes long, and thereafter there is an opportunity for you to ask questions. So
you can turn that speaker away from you, it'll stop doing that. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so 4-minute presentations. Once they are done with their presentation, please feel free to ask questions. There's going to be time for questions. There will be limited time, but ask a question if you have to or want to. At some point in time, you'll see me come back up here indicating that we're cutting them off. However, you can feel free to walk out of the room and follow the presenter, that little conference room that I mentioned earlier. You guys can go back there and have a deeper discussion. So you will have the opportunity to talk to the person that's pitching. 3 audience questions, it could be less, it could be more, it just depends on how we're doing on time. And then I already mentioned the break room follow-ups. So if there aren't any questions, are there any questions now before we get started with the pitches? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Our first one is Tri-Track Motors, and that's Andre Deribianco.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shaila, this is Andre, and this is Jerry. We are from Tri-Track Motors. Tri-Track Motors, this is just a model here. It is the most efficient and affordable electric vehicle. Let me pass the mic on to Andre.
You can see here how 4 people comfortably fit into the Tri-Track, and it is the most efficient vehicle because the shape and the weight of the vehicle. And what we want to do is effectively what Ford Motor Company did for gasoline cars, make it affordable so any factory worker can buy one. Currently, that's the main barrier for electric vehicles. They're very expensive. Many people want them, but not many can afford. So that's what we want to do. We want to change it. And electric vehicle is only the first step. We have very big plan, many stages. And unlike Ford Motor Company, every customer can choose any color. And we're gonna do that with our unique marketing system. And I'll pass the mic to Jerry.
Sorry. Anyway, the way it works is we combine the best of energy efficiency for the car and for the electric part of it. And the wind tunnel test pictures in the back, this is done at UT in the engineering building with the the wind tunnel test has a drag coefficient of 0.07, and with the frontal area of 14 square feet, it's about 8 times more efficient than the car that you drove in when you came here. So with that energy reduction, we're able to make run on electricity with lithium batteries. Okay, and this is what we have so far. This is body number 2. We're in process. We're collecting money, of course, investment. And it's a real lightweight car, in addition to being aerodynamic. And so it's a honeycomb core. It's a honeycomb sandwich structure. There's no frame in it. And it's built more like an airplane than a car, but it allows us to get about 5 cents a mile energy cost to run it. And we have big hopes for the future. There's more beyond just the tri-track, but we're starting with the 3-wheeled street version, and we're gonna roll it into a monorail. And then beyond that is the Stratocar, which is at the bottom of that picture. There's our pitch.
Yep. So, any questions? And I wish we had more time to explain it all, but 4 minutes, we're already at 4.5.
What are you looking for?
We are looking for investors, and we're also looking for
300,000.
300,000 I will ask, and we're looking for web and marketing experts.
Any questions?
Are you sell through dealers at all? And if so, do you have any relationships with dealers?
Yes.
Yes, we will be selling to dealers as well, and we are establishing relationships now, so we are looking for dealerships as well.
But mostly over the internet. Any other questions?
Yeah, well,
How safe is it if you were to get in a crash if it's
Well, good.
Okay. The purpose of the dual mode system is that you drive on the monorail most of the time. So when you're on the monorail, you're up above all the other traffic, and you're very, very, very safe. So crash avoidance is the real answer, not how tough can you make a tank to run into another tank. But the front end has a much longer crush zone, and the back end has a really long crush zone to protect you from a crash. So like when a stuntman jumps out of a helicopter and lands on an airbag, that airbag doesn't weigh much, but it keeps him from dying when he hits the ground.
So you can see here that in the crash zone, so before, if you hit the wall, before wall hits the actual passenger, there is a lot of crumble, and it's honeycomb aluminum, so it absorbs energy of the impact.
Let's get 2 more questions. Scott?
You talked about the monorail infrastructure. Where do we find this monorail, and what are the steps between here and having that as a real infrastructure?
There's a much bigger story that's going on besides just selling electric cars for the street. We've been working with TxDOT and Campo and all those people to get it down in a straight 35 would be the first place you'd see it. And then we're going to be moving water from Wichita Falls, or from the lake, Ray Roberts, to Wichita Falls in another conversion of this thing. But you should see it on a highway near you.
And guideway is at stage 2.
All right. Sorry, that's all the time we have.
Okay.
So I did see that there were some other questions. If you guys want to go back there, for those of you that didn't get a chance to ask your question, feel free to follow them back there. Okay, next up is Mike West with People Analytics.
Hi, I'm Mike West. I'm with an early stage HR analytics startup that we're currently calling People Analytics. Right now it's myself and a software engineer and about 10 advisors, everything from data science to sort of back-end databases and business development. I guess I'll start off with a question. So if you asked, if you took a broad panel of CEOs and asked them what their #1 challenge is, what do you think their answer would be?
Retention.
Retention is that's actually a good answer, which ties into my solution. That their true answer is people, or people challenges, or human capital, and there's sort of a broad spectrum of challenges there. What percentage of the U.S. GDP is spent on payroll? Does anyone have any idea? Roughly 40%. Big numbers. So what percentage of CEOs do you think use data for sales and marketing decisions? I actually don't know the answer to this one, but if someone knows, I'd love to know the answer. So I imagine it's pretty high. But what percentage of CEOs do you think use data for key HR decisions? How many?
2%.
A recent survey said, came up with the number as high as 25%, although I don't believe it. And then you could probably qualify the question with, do they actually trust the data? Do they use it? And the number's much lower. I've been working in HR analytics for the last 13 years. I started with Merck in New Jersey. As far as I know, they were one of the first companies doing this, large company with big profit margins that spend a lot on people. Then I did it with PetSmart and then Google, and I've done it for a few other places, including Children's Medical in Dallas. So there's a variety of industries and companies who have experimented in this. For a while, it was like pushing a rock up a hill, but there's a growing interest in it right now. And actually part of the growing interest comes out of recent book and movie Moneyball, which sort of popularized this idea that you could take data and apply it to what an organization or a team is doing and get a better outcome. Love the movie. If you get a chance to see it. I'm not trying to do exactly the same thing. I just pair that up against sort of the Fast Company article. I think it was in 2007, which essentially why we hate HR, very popular article. Essentially the idea is there's so much potential, but yet HR is not getting much out of that. So what am I doing? I'm building a software as a service company with sort of this end-to-end people-oriented solution idea focused around employee retention at first, but it could expand in a number of different directions using advanced analytics and regression prediction, things of that nature. The key is a software as a service business model. So we can leverage talent across companies for a lower price solution, better outcomes, bigger data sets, as well as some other advantages. This, you can't see this, so I won't go into detail on this, but I'm trying to apply the metaphor of like Google Finance or Yahoo Finance to people data. We can obviously go in a lot of different directions. That's just one idea. I was going to share a bunch of statistics. I think I'm out of time, but essentially the point was just it's a very, very large market where you can produce a very big ROI, and it has sort of good characteristics for a business. Looking for potentially some people who can add on the software development side, or angel investors. So right now I'm talking to about 12 different companies, most of which have reached out to me for full-time positions. I'm just trying to convince them it'd be better to do it as a software as a service model. But what I need to do is sort of parlay that into a different model. So I would obviously help if I had some angel investment, and then I could build a product that I could sell as opposed to consulting services. But that's the idea.
Yeah, so the problem that you're trying to solve is people analytics, right? Like how to, apply data to HR decisions, right? What's your proposed solution? Like, what's the mechanism that you use to solve that problem?
So I apologize, I didn't get a chance to go to that in depth. I'm glad you asked that. So the idea is there's a variety of data that exists within their HR systems that can be used to do this. I do this at Google and Children's Medical. You can look at the characteristics of the employee, everything from the type of work they do, their demographic characteristics, where in the world they are, how long they've been doing it for, and develop a sort of probability of exit. And then you can rank order employees, and the companies can make a decision about which ones they want to act on to reduce that risk. And you can also surface from that data what levers they have to control that. So some of that might be how they're paid relative to market benchmark, how they feel about their manager, and then potentially looking at if they're in their role for a certain period of time, it might make more sense to move them somewhere else in the organization as opposed to lose them to another company. So it's data in the HR system combined with perhaps some survey data, and then doing analytics on top of that and producing it back in a visual format.
Take one more question. What kind of validation do you got with the data you use?
Did you say validation?
Yeah.
I can't share details from any of the specific companies that I've worked on, but this is what they're doing at Google. What I sort of helped them put into place. We did it at Children's Medical. When you look at this data over a large group, the idea is that you can even sort of minor adjustments to some of these variables can result in significantly different outcomes. And all of that can be shown with the data itself. So, it might be an initial leap of faith for the company to say, yeah, I'll give you my data and I'll work with you. But after that first year, there's essentially built-in evidence that the tool either works or doesn't work, and it has worked well in the past. Ideally, over time, we'll improve all of the statistical significance and its percentage of variance explained and things of that nature.
Thank you.
If anybody has questions for him, feel free to call him out, although he's not there now, so catch him afterwards. Okay, next up is Mike Holt. He is with, dude, where's my car?
All right. Hey, how's everyone doing today? Tonight, rather. So I've created an app called Dude, Where's My Car? I just want to start out with a question. How many of you would have difficulty finding your car in a large shopping mall on Black Friday? Not too many of you, but so I've been working on this for about a year, and it's an iPhone app that you can pinpoint when you park exactly where your car is, kind of like checking in with Foursquare, and then easily get directions back using Google or Apple Maps. Say you've had too many beers at a bar, just one too many, and you're trying to find your car, so you can also call taxis. And that's where partnerships with taxis would come in handy, like Yellow Cab and etc. You can also find parking, get directions to parking lots across the country. This will come in handy if you're traveling for business, you're not really familiar with the area, maybe you have a rental car and you're just trying to find a place to park, not miss that next important business meeting. So right now, it's projected that by 2016 there will be 42 million intelligent, smart cars on the road, bringing in revenues of $14 billion. So Apple's already working on tying the phone directly into the car in your navigation system. So that's something I'm working towards as well. 40 million travel apps accessed 2012, and business travel is about 246 billion. So I'm trying to leverage this and basically help people find their car. So my revenue model right now, trying to make money off of the app itself is kind of missing the forest for the trees, I think. I think really I have to find partnerships with strategic companies like Car2Go, Zipcar, some of these, and I'm in talks with a few of them. Even rental car companies, Enterprise, Hertz, that's more of a bigger target, but I also have a device that will plug into your OBD port in your car. So it's kind of like automatic, that would be a competitor. So it sends data to the cloud, it knows everywhere the car has been. This would make it so that you don't have to pinpoint when you park, it just knows. And that's called Carvoyant. They're based in Florida. And I'm also collecting anonymous parking data every time someone parks, so I can see everywhere people are parking. And it's not meant to be creepy or anything, but just something that would be useful for, here's an example, for businesses. So this is my traction in the past year. As you can see, it's being used all over the world, and I haven't done very much in terms of marketing and advertising, which is where investors would come into play. I have, big plans during South by Southwest, for example. And here's my contact information. And that's Dude, Where's My Car? All right, thanks. Any questions? Yeah.
How many downloads, users?
I have approximately 30,000, roughly. Not huge numbers like, Foursquare or anything like that, but it's growing, and that's where advertising would come in handy.
Do you have the rights to that name?
No, I do not currently. It's something that I need to trademark. Right now in the app, it has a TM right there just to protect me from any legal issues. I haven't had anyone contact me yet.
It was a movie.
Yes, it was. And Ashton Kutcher he invests in a lot of app startups, so I've been reaching out to him as well. Yeah.
You were talking about strategic partnerships earlier. Have you ever thought about reaching out to insurance companies and dealing with theft recovery with your app?
Theft recovery is something to consider. I know, Automatic is already doing this where they can, figure out how competitively you're driving and reduce your rates that way. It's something to consider.
Because once your car's stolen, most times the police officers really don't care, right? Tracking down a stolen car is not a big deal to them. But if I could look it up on my iPhone and be like, oh, it's parked 6 blocks away, I just go pick it up.
Exactly, yeah. That's something I've considered, yeah.
It'd be worth a couple bucks a month.
Mm-hmm.
Is there
Good point.
Are you currently using any advertising to generate revenue in the app?
So I'm using AppsFire right now. It pops up a pop-up ad. I don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, that's what I'm using right now with some success. And then also I have in-app purchases. So every, after they use that for a certain period of time, they have to pay a one-time fee to keep using it.
What's your conversion rate on that?
Right now I just set it at a hard limit of 50, so it's not actually doing anything yet.
No, but how many people, when they get to the limit of 50, are actually able?
I haven't reached that yet. I was thinking more like around 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you considered penetration into the business traveler market? Because I know a lot of people that use airports and rental cars a lot would like this. And to follow on that, is there a way to make the on-car device battery powered so it's portable?
Right. I've considered using Bluetooth, which would just be a device that sits in your car and it knows when you're parked. But right now, it's basically like a mobile phone in your car, connected and getting power from the, from your car itself.
Okay. One more question.
Sorry, maybe I missed this. There's another device that you are selling with it? Or you have to
Not right now. That would require a partnership with this Carvoyant company, so that I can buy them in, bulk.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Adam Gray next.
Yes. All right. How many musicians do we have? Anyone play any instruments? A couple. As you all know, we live in a time where we love to share information with each other and our knowledge. We have things like GitHub to share the code written with other developers, or Wikipedia to share our knowledge on certain topics. People want that open access to different things. My company is called Rift. It is an open source music collaboration company. My name is Adam Gray. I was the founder. I'm a musician. I grew up in Las Vegas, and music was my life. I was in a band, and I'm working currently with John Moultrie, who works. He's basically a very prominent member of the jazz community. He's working with our marketing as of right now. So a little bit about what Rift is. It's a place for musicians, producers, DJs to come together, and fans to create better music. We all know that collaboration is so important in creating anything, not just music, but products, services. We know the importance of bringing people together. So a musician's main goal is that they want people to hear them. They want to have make someone feel something. It's not really about necessarily making money. You don't become a musician because you want to be a millionaire. You do it because you love music. I think I'm running out of time there. So basically, how does Riff work? The idea is if you're a guitar player, you could submit a guitar riff to the community, and you make it accessible to everyone. If you're a bass player, you could pick up this guitar riff and you can add your bass line to it and resubmit it to the community. And you can see it can kind of stem off into several different songs, versions of songs. You can get a rap song to a country song from your one original riff. Influence is really important, and it's measured through the website. Every time you contribute to someone's sound, you get influence points. And it's a way to kind of measure your interaction with the community. While you are waiting for the collaboration from the community, it's very important that you are also there to collaborate and give your ideas and your feedback as well. Basically, the idea with revenue, the website's still in production right now. I don't have anything live as of yet, but we're getting really close to a beta launch. The first thing I want to do is figure out what people are willing to pay for, upgrading their accounts to add additional features that they're looking for, as well as possible sponsorships with maybe local music shops, things like that. So as of right now, I'm looking for any additional developers who are interested in helping me out. So I'm hoping to have our first website up here in the next month or so. It's kind of the beta for it. Here's my contact information, and it's riff.com. Thank you. Yes.
So you describe it mostly as a collaborative site where musicians just collaborate and create a piece of music.
Correct.
Is there some kind of voting element from people that are maybe just observers or listeners and not necessarily collaborating on the music, but voting on which piece they like most?
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of like the like button. I call it the cheer button. So fans could get on and cheer for certain generations of songs. You can see as people contribute, you can go back to the very original riff that song came from, and you can see every version of the song as it goes along, and kind of where in the world that it's been. So as a fan, I don't know if anyone's heard of Modest Mouse, but they a while back released their music video. It was filmed on green screen. They released the raw footage to their fans, and everyone created their own version of the music video together, and it was a huge success. And the same thing can happen here with bands that are working on their next album. Yes? So there are a couple of people right now that are doing something kind of similar to this. The issue with what they're doing is that they are people have to be invited to play with your song, contribute, or there's all these restrictions that are placed on it. What I want this to be is I want it to be completely open. Attribution is all that's required if you use anyone's music. So I want it to be, the feeling is if you're in the garage with your bandmates making music, I want that to be more widespread.
So it's like a Creative Commons kind of?
Exactly. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, next up is EJ Lawless, interesting name, from FurnitureNear.me.
Hey, I'm EJ Lawless from Furniture Near Me. A little background about myself. So I am an online marketing and product guy who spent a few months teaching himself Python and Django to build the first version of the product to see if it worked, to see if I could grow traffic. But before I did that, I worked at Indeed.com, which is a job search engine here in Austin. I was responsible for traffic growth during the period which it grew from 30 million to 100 million unique visitors a month across 50 countries and 20-something languages. Before that, I was at BuildASign, where I was responsible for growing revenue over a couple-year period where it more than doubled, doing product, website improvements, leading the teams that did search marketing, email, affiliate marketing. So the problem I wanted to solve with my startup was to take a process which I find slow and painful and difficult, which is buying furniture, and making it easier. Right now, buying furniture is difficult because you have to go store to store to see who has what styles you like, how much. It eats up your weekends. So my solution was to aggregate all of the different inventory from all the furniture stores in one place so you could search, so you can be like leather sofa, sort, filter, look at color options in the future, stores, price ranges. So this is basically like cars.com or Auto Trader for cars, Indeed for jobs, hotels.com for hotels, but nothing like this exists in the furniture marketplace yet. Almost true. There are a few other solutions for doing that, one here in this room. It's also a good market to do this. The market's large. It's about $80 billion in the US. There are millions of people searching online every month. I think about 30% of households every year say they're in the market for furniture. And the international opportunity is actually as big, if not bigger. So far, I built the first product. I have over 100 stores aggregated. That's over 100,000 products in my index. I'm in 50 cities. I spent a few months figuring out if search marketing would work. It does. If social would work, it does. So I need to spend more time on it. I also think in the future, it can grow through partnerships. I have a tiny bit of revenue. I really just wanted to see if people coming to the site would then go to retailers and buy products. So I signed up for this small affiliate network, and it does. Right now, I'm looking for a technical co-founder who can help me scale the site, work on search, make it better, really just make a better product. Although I'm also open to other co-founders who might have other skill sets that would bring value to the team. That's it.
How are you aggregating the content?
I go out and I build spiders on a per site basis.
Are you actually conducting sales through your site, or are you simply redirecting to another website?
So people do a search on my site, they see the different stores, they click on a product details, and then if they want, they click through to the retailer. And then they're buying or potentially going in store.
So what's your revenue model?
I think the long-term revenue model would be advertised on a per-click basis. So there's the organic results, and I think premium sponsored results. But we'll see. It's open.
Are you planning in the future, if this works, to make it more of a marketplace for people that want to sell furniture directly to consumers?
It's definitely a possibility. Classified sites aggregating from there is another possibility too.
Any other questions?
So how are you currently funded while you're working with the actual business model?
Bootstraps.
So how do you think it was to build those spiders? Because I could imagine that the websites constantly change.
So the initial spiders maybe take a few hours per site. I think the question of how do you make the data refresh more often and see when things expired is really a solution I'm hoping a technical co-founder will help me solve.
Thanks, DJ. Okay, well, I'm going backwards. Okay, next we have Chad Bonner, who's from Fit Like Me.
Thank you. Click the which one? Yeah, just click that word.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys, how y'all doing? So, show of hands, who has made a New Year's resolution this year? Show of hands. Yeah, I love it. Okay, hold on. Keep them up, please. So we are about 2 weeks into this new year, and by tomorrow, 30% of you would have already dropped off. So who is that going to be? Who already dropped off, by the way? Anybody right there? Perfect. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Okay. No matter what your resolution is, how big, how small, getting organized for the year, changing your life and health, going and doing a charity, it tends to drop off. There's only 8% of those that set resolutions today that actually achieve that. Why is that? Wouldn't you like to be on the other end? And more importantly, wouldn't you like to expand those goals from 8% to 20%? Why can't we all achieve it? One last question. Of the resolutions made, what is the number one resolution target year over year? Anybody have it?
Lose weight.
Lose weight. I'm going to give you a protein bar for that. That is exactly right. Losing weight, right? When you go to Google and you search lose weight, and that was an incredible tie-in, right? You receive 254 million search results on losing weight. When you go to weight loss, what do you receive? 538 million results. What do you do? Where do you turn? That's not a question. It's more rhetorical. We're moving now into rhetorical. What do you do next? Who do you trust? Where's the information? How does it pertain to you? The convergence of this line, goal achievement and fitness, not just weight loss, but any fitness goal, is what we're trying to tackle. And by the way, this was supposed to be a blind site, so you wouldn't actually see the, but there we go. So my name's Chad Bonner. I'm with Fit Like Me. I'll tell you about all my history, but that would take too long. West Point, USC, MBA. My purpose in this life is to change the world. And that's what we're trying to do here today. So the health and fitness landscape is complicated, right? You've got the before and the after picture. What happened in the middle? That's what's most important. You're buying into some prescription you see on an infomercial. Is it right for you? How do you know? CES happened last year. Quantified self devices, right? Huge. Headlines everywhere. Tracking for tracking's sake. What's the connecting of the dots? So what? So what, right? And then when you don't know who to turn to, you go to popular social networks and you say, hey, I ran a mile today. I got a hurt leg. I came out of the military. My mile was terrible, and I got barraged by my tough guys I used to train with. That hurt. Demotivation. It's not accountable. It doesn't help you. And ultimately, when you do get to where you can actually have a trainer, if you can afford $1,500 plus a year, is what they're doing right for you? That's a big question. So what is Fit Like Me? Really, it's a socially enabled fitness accountability platform. We do two things. You are aligned with people you can bring in. Not my dad. I'm a junior, by the way. So not my dad, who would say, no, you're not going to make it, disparaging remarks, but those that would lift me up. I would also be in line with others on the same journey that I have, and ultimately as well enabled, empowered by the instruction, the tailored guidance, and insight of experts that target people and help people like me. And the last is very interesting, data. Data is big in this space. Quantified self, if you go to any meeting today, it's all about self-evaluation, self-growth. What I say is quantified team. Why does this matter? The data is great for you, but what about the data in the aggregate? How does it help people on the same journey? The combination of the collaboration of this data, built on the results of others like you on this line, with a social accountability and empowerment tool, is what we're doing. We've got a lofty vision, guys. We're in our MVP now. We're beginning the stage of building that out. And why am I here? You know, I am here, like I said before, to change the world. I'm looking for people that want to do that very thing. The channel, challenge the norm, to reach out of that quantified self box and empower others. People interested in collaborating, people interested in changing the fitness landscape, but ultimately helping everyone achieve their goals together. That's why we're here. I'm looking for tech co-founder potentially, if you are interested. I'm looking for developers. I'm definitely looking for data scientists. And investors, please talk to me, reach out to me. We are early, but we're coming with a formidable product to revolutionize the industry. Thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it. Are there any questions, guys? That's a bad sign or a really good sign?
So,
Please, yeah.
so Fit Like Me, is it like a community online or an app or what is it? I think
So mobile app and web-based, right? Ultimately, where we're at right now, do we go a full social network separate than everything else? What I'm looking to do is be an aggregate on top of that. So you can pull in the Facebook friends, you can pull in the Twitter friends and all that for that viable motivation of your friends that really you know will uplift you. Does that answer the question, I hope?
Yes. So when you say the motivation that's going to come from friends, how does that happen in the app?
Positive encouragement, very simply. But you set out a goal, here's what you do. You come into the system, you set out a goal, here's what I'm on the journey of doing. You bring in the guys to sign up with that, to encourage you. Hey, if you see me off the rails this week, please send me a note. Text me, email me, what have you. Let's get back on that. That's kind of how you do it. Okay? Yes?
What constitutes a successful failure?
So goal achievement is a journey, right? And I think that's all individualistic. And as we go, most definitely, we will figure that out. But to me, it's simple inputs, the output, goal, and time, the accomplishment along the way. There will be derailment, but it's ultimately bringing you back to the journey that matters. And that's where most people miss from goal accomplishment. Yes, sir.
Is this, are you focusing entirely on health and fitness right now, just initially? Because it seems to me there's a much larger market for goal attainment in general.
I like you, sir. Thank you for that. That's a very good question. So if you go today and you look at Lyft, it is a very passive way for you to achieve your goal. You put some stuff, you get various things back, but nothing's motivational. There's no real accountability structure there. Goals in general today, in the app world, in the mobile world, in the web world, there's a miss. Most definitely we will get there. We're proving it out on the backs of right now where every focus is, which is fitness and health. Thank you, sir. Yes.
How do I envision this? So you say you have an encouraging community. So I said basically I'm setting some goals.
Yep.
I'm going to run every day, let's say a mile.
Right.
Whatever, right? Then I go in and saying I'm inviting those my Facebook friends.
That's right.
Then my Facebook friends have to do something to this invite.
Yes, sir.
And what else needs to happen right now? Now I'm basically, that's my goal, they're my friends.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? What are my friends supposed to do?
So that's a great point, right? So the ability for you to encourage along the way is a part of that pack that is signed by the friends you bring in. Again, it's not a passive movement. This is pure accountability. The other aspect is, when you think Netflix, right? Think about that the recommendation engine around what movies you select based on others. What we're doing here is think about goal recommendation built on others like you. That recommendation channel and matching channel is in the end what that program becomes. Any last questions? Yeah.
Have you considered selling through channels? In particular, I'm thinking teams like Austin Rowing Club or such and such hiking club, or teams that maybe have to compete in a competition. They keep each other accountable for the team process.
So that's brilliant. I have had conversations at the USC Center for Body Computing. Talked to the head strength conditioning coach, by the way. I rooted for UT when y'all beat us. USC, I have an MBA there. Don't hate me for it. Yes. The short answer is yes. I've got ties throughout. I've also got ties at gyms. I also have ties at other realms, most definitely. Where I'm at, again, going back to what I need now, guys, I'm trying to begin this. The vision is lofty. I can't do it alone. I have a few people. I have some advisors, most definitely. Got one person on board. I want others to be a part of this, right? Sure, we're out of time, huh? Yes?
One more question.
Yeah, please.
From a product perspective, what do you see as deficient in Fitocracy? Or things like that?
Yeah, no, that's great. So for those that don't know Fitocracy, it's a brilliant app, right? What you do is you come in and you gamify fitness. And ultimately, when you look at a certain level of population, there's those that want to be on that leaderboard, but there's others that go to group fitness for a reason. There's that social empowerment and trust. We all want to grow together. Notice there's 3 people on the logo for a reason. It's not about me in this world, it's about us. And in helping us, you also achieve. That's the main differentiation. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
For those of you that still have questions, feel free to head on back there and talk to Chad some more. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, we've got Brian Massey of Cascade Content.
Thanks very much. Well, we don't have any rocket cars. We certainly aren't as in shape as Chad is. In fact, our offering is seem a little boring, I think, but those are the kind of businesses that we like because there's already a market for them, people have budgets for them, and so what we're talking about today is Cascade Content. This is Fernando. We're a couple marketers with some programming skills, but we've already launched a minimum viable product on this, and we are looking for a developer to help us turn this into much more of an application. I think we can do this. So how many of you have ever uploaded audio to a transcribing service so you can get a text transcript of the audio? Has anybody done that here? Just, quite a few of you. Come on, if your hand is... So some of you guys, has anybody here ever done that with a webinar, uploaded a webinar so you get the audio transcribed? Well, there are people in the enterprises, especially in business-to-business companies that have complex sales that are doing this. And the question is, if I'm going to upload an audio and download a transcript, I'm going to get just text. But if I could click on something and say, I actually want a report, I want a white paper. What if you could click on something that says, I want an infographic of that? So business-to-business complex sale companies have a hard time, and webinars are fairly successful in communicating the complex issues around buying their products. But not everybody watches webinars. How many of you have tried to watch a webinar trying to get an answer and just couldn't get past the introductions and the pitches? Certain people are going to watch a webinar. Certain people are going to want to read an ebook. They're going to want to read a report. Cascade Content allows marketers to upload their webinars. Within the webinar is everything we need. The slides provide the graphics. The audio will be transcribed and it provides the text. So it becomes very easy to produce these different kinds of content. And quite frankly, you are all going to learn as entrepreneurs that if you're going to market today digitally, you're going to become a publisher. This is a quick way to publishing if you can do a presentation and record some audio. We like this because it's a high margin service. The companies have budgets, and we think they're going to pay a premium for being able to get this information quickly and to be able to create shareable content from content that's not quite shareable. Most of these webinars are buried deep in people's websites. We're also going to be using some nearshoring. Fernando here is an expert in nearshoring and knows some resources where we can further reduce the cost of producing this content. So we think it'll be a high margin business, quick turnaround. We're going to be marketing through branding partnerships. So there are people who do landing pages, which is a component that would be delivered with these sorts of things. There are people who do infographics, etc. So that co-marketing with affiliate partnerships who, again, want access to these markets. And right now, the minimum viable product actually allows marketers to go upload the link to their webinar and let us give them analysis of what we think could be created from that based on the number of images and things that they're getting. So what we're looking for is a developer to help us turn this into a real product. Now, I found Conversion Sciences, we're a going concern here in Austin. I would call it a blowing and going. So this is going to be a part of that. The developer is a salary position. We'll be doing work both on Cascade Content, which is a sister company essentially to Conversion Sciences, as well as some of the work that we do for our customers doing website optimization. We're also interested in anybody here who would like to introduce us to some Lighthouse customers who would like to test this. We still have an operational issue that we need to work through on the back end to make sure that this is viable and that it does have the high margins and that it can be turned around in the time frames that these marketers are going to expect. So other than that, anybody in town who would consider themselves a content partner on this, we're certainly welcome to talk to you about how to make you a part of this and perhaps get a flow of customers to you. Here's how you contact me. I didn't include your contact information, but if you think Fernando's cuter, I'll introduce you. Go to cascadecontent.com and either create a cascade for yourself or invite some of your business-to-business friends to give it a try. Questions?
Have you considered integrating high-quality translations into this?
Well,
Translations into other languages?
Fernando is bilingual, so we have that component. He speaks Spanish, but why not? Why wouldn't we be able to do that? Absolutely, another checkbox or another option.
We would probably take content from Spanish and turn it into English content. There's a lot of companies coming from Latin America as well as in Europe, Asia, et cetera, who want to penetrate the U.S. market and don't have the resources or the language ability to be able to create the content they need to enter the U.S. market. So that's actually a good idea.
Tell them the name of your...
Latin IT Marketing is a site that I created to provide, or as a consultancy to provide content marketing services to Latin American technology companies. So.
Did you plant that question with him? That was a good question. Was there a question over here?
Where are you near for? Honduras or
We have contacts in Mexico and Argentina.
Other questions? Any other interesting kinds of content you would like to see cranked out automatically like that? All right, so we got it kind of covered. Podcasts, infographics.
Are you like using humans to create the content, or are you gonna?
To get the quality we want, yes, I think. So the transcript provides most of it, so it's more of an editing and layout process than a raw writing. So the reason that white papers and ebooks are expensive is because there's a subject matter expert problem. You have to do the research, understand their business enough to write about it. Well, the presentation is designed to explain something very simply, or as simply as possible, to the target audience. Everything's in the presentation, so we think that that's going to give us the leverage we need to deliver higher quality, but at a lower cost.
Are you going to consider at all doing an artificial intelligence?
If the developer that walks up can do that, yes. We'd have to find some unique talent to do that, though, yeah. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Okay, getting close to the end. 3 presentations left, and we have Daryl Malone from Earth to 9. You, Daryl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, almost through here, guys. I just got one more, or a couple more. My name is Daryl Malone. I see a couple familiar faces here. You guys will know me as DJ. And I'm here talking about Earth Benign, and we want to create a sustainable economy. So that means answerable to people and the planet, and not just profit alone. Now, one of the problems that we have doing that is capital, specifically operating capital. Right now, we're going through a lot of austerity in the Western world, so it's a lot harder to get funding. Banks have tightened their restrictions, so it makes it tough for small businesses who are trying to do certain things to get the money that they need. Now, the medieval market had a solution for this. When they had a lack of coin, they basically traded their own production. And they were allowed to do multiple trades that produced vouchers, and they were able to introduce liquidity into the economy without having actual capital. We want to do the same thing with today's technology. Now, what that looks like is what we call a super barter exchange. So you can basically put whatever your excess capacity is, whether that's space, whether that's talents that you have within your team, whether that's products that you guys haven't sold. You basically put it all on the system and you list it. People can say, hey, I need this, I have this to offer. And it becomes a trading system that is a lot more efficient than what you can do normally just between people. You trade with people that you trust. You can do multiple trades since it exists in the system, and if you don't use it all, you can send it to someone else who might need it more than you do. So it becomes very fluid in that way. And we want to bring that to already established communities. That's our target market right now. So currently we are in talks with the Texas Green Chamber. We're also beginning talks with the Austin Chamber of Commerce. But our ideal target market is going to be actually outside of Texas. It's actually going to be in places where the economy is not quite as good as it is here in Austin, where they have those real liquidity problems. Places like Detroit, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Miami. These places have a lot stronger need for a product like we have created. We actually have a demo that we're going to be showing off on the 25th. So if you guys are here in Austin, it's going to be at the Austin, or the next economy conference. That's going to be here at the Scottish Rite Theater. You can go to nextecon.org to check that out, but that's going to be our first demo of the product, so you'll be able to see how it works. Right now, what we're looking for is really investors. We have most of the team locked down. We have 2 technical founders, which is code for coders, I guess, but handling data as well as the actual product development. And we're looking for the ability to reach out to these communities that really have a burning need for our product so that we can onboard them and get them started with it. That's all I've got for you. Here's our contact information. So I'll open up the floor for questions.
How do you take care of the customer who has something to give but doesn't find what they need?
So the idea is that with an established community where we already have groups that trade with each other regularly, we won't have that issue. And that's part of the reason that we want to do that rather than onboarding people one at a time. We want to attract an entire chamber or an entire community where they already have a record of trading with each other. They already have a knowledge of each other's productivity and trust with each other. So we won't have that issue. Now going forward, once we have a certain critical mass, we definitely do want to open that up to where individuals can come on and start trading within the already established group. But for the beginning, we're going to start with communities where we won't have to deal with that issue.
I mean, so the reason for money is that you have liquidity. So bartering basically sets you back because you have to find always a perfect match. Otherwise, you couldn't barter fractionally. So the question is, so the problem you're trying to solve is for those people who do not have liquidity, maybe because they're not creditworthy or because the economies don't provide that liquidity. So the thought comes that you replace that liquidity with a make-believe money. You can have a cyber currency, and then you would have more liquidity on your side.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the key feature of our product is what's called a producer credit. Basically, that means you create your own credit, you create your own liquidity based on what you can produce or what you have. So take something that I know most people woke up today, they drank coffee, right? So we can say coffee is something that everybody has an established demand for. Now, if you're a company that produces coffee or you have excess coffee, you can trade that with someone and be reasonably expectant that they have a demand for it and be able to get what you need from them. Now, that person can use that to get what they need, get coffee right away, or they can use that to trade for something else. So once you put a credit into the system, it can be retraded as many times as it needs to be. It can be divided, you can do whatever you want with it. So it essentially becomes liquidity itself, rather than you needing to go and get money for it. So the big value of this is that everything is based on demand and not necessarily actual liquidity. So as long as you have something that's good, which I hope that businesses do, then you can get people who are willing to trade for your services or trade for what you have.
How are the things valued? Was the person offering the service or the product valuing it, or is Earth Benign valuing it?
So we're going to have a computational system that does do some valuing of it. We're going to base it in US dollars as well as RISI, which I won't get too far into that. But we will have a valuing system there. But in essence, that's just a marker. That's just so someone looking at it from the outside can say, oh, okay, this is worth about this much money. But the real value is, does someone want it? So it's going to be based on not only does the person that you're trading with want to accept that trade, they're going to have the option to say, no, I reject it, or no, I want a counteroffer. But it's also going to be based on how much demand is in the network. How many people have put a want in that category of product? So that's going to tell you, okay, how tradable is this? How liquid is this? So there's going to be a lot going into it, but at the end of the day, if 2 people want to make a trade, we're not going to restrict that. Yeah.
You
you thought about starting in a grassroots model, let it grow organically? For instance, you've got a lot of business referral groups out there that already are doing business with each other on a referral basis. You could incorporate that into some of these groups are nationwide in their affiliation. It would allow you to grow it and scale it without a whole lot of effort within an established group that already has comfort factors.
Yeah, and that definitely is a part of it. That goes right into the chambers and business groups. But the only thing we want to avoid is trying to attract individual businesses one at a time. Because a situation like that doesn't allow us to hit the critical mass, doesn't allow us to really have effective trade between communities. But any group that already has relationships with each other built in, or already knows to trade with each other and knows how to trade with each other, is going to be an ideal client for us in our early adopter phase. And I think that's about it. So, yep.
I know you're talking about B2B, but is there potential, like in Detroit, where there's like red line where someone could actually say something as simple as I'm able to work for food or something like that standpoint? You're talking about food, that could be massive. People trying to work for TV or something as simple as food. Is that potentially available?
Yeah, ideally that is the goal. We want to get to the point where anybody can go and join the system and basically gain operating capital, whether it's for a business or whether it's for a person. Again, we do want to allow it to grow, and we do want to have it be functional when it first starts so that we can actually have people making initial trades. So for the outset, unfortunately, we can't have individuals as the main target. But once we do have an established community in an area, the idea is that we want to open it up to individuals and small businesses to be able to sign up individually so that they can take part in the system that already exists.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Daryl. Okay, just 2 presentations left. Cloud9, JC Adams, you are up.
Thank you. Hey everyone, I'm JC Adams, founder and CEO of Cloud9. We're in the mobile mental health business because, believe it or not, mental health is more broken than the overall healthcare system. It's a crazy world out there. 1 in 4 Americans now have a diagnosable mental illness. And most people are not getting treated. Those that do, 60% are being treated by primary care physicians, or they're in our ERs, and these doctors do not have the time or the training to offer any talk therapy or any specialized care. However, they are armed with an arsenal of pharmaceuticals to throw at this problem. And that's not helping the rates of illness. This is now up 1 in 4 from over 1 in 5 just over a decade ago. So hasty prescription writing and big pharmaceutical companies are not fixing this. So this is our mission, is to help break down the barriers to real care by providing people access to the mental health care professionals, making it more affordable, and also reducing the stigma, because that's the big issue, is where people feel ashamed or embarrassed to deal with issues from the neck up. So we want to make it more approachable, and that's why we came up with Cloud9. So our recipe for success is putting 5 disruptive technologies into 1 mobile application for mental health. These are mHealth, telehealth, quantified self, electronic health records, and big data analytics. So mobile plus telehealth, this is a perfect fit for this industry. The old way of trying to find a mental health care professional was difficult and both time consuming to find the right specialization or personality fit. Also, you still had to drive to where the counselor is and lay on their couch for a session. Well, not anymore. Now you can get counseling from the comfort and privacy of your own couch. Simply sign up, find the right match of specialization and personality fit, and engage in a live, secure session right there from your home. And it's private, it's HIPAA compliant and secure. Now, also, I didn't have room for additional slides here, but like Chad, our mission is to change the world, and quantified self is one of these movements that we think is a great opportunity through which to do that. So through this mobile platform, we're able to incorporate behavioral analytics where we can get data on your emotional and mental states throughout the day, both manual and passive, so that people can learn more about themselves through this mobile application. And then they can also share that information with this guy, their mental health care professional, so he knows what's going on outside of session. And that can be shared with the overall industry for greater learning, while the alarms and reminders within these apps can help bring about that effective human behavioral change that we want. So it's exciting, we're bullish, and then on the business side, it's a great opportunity. Telemedicine is going to be a $1.5 trillion industry. By 2019, mental health itself is a $113 billion a year industry. It is broken. It's technologically immature, highly fragmented. Those two drivers alone justify Cloud9's entry in the market, but then the regulatory drivers are huge. The Mental Health Parity Act just went into effect in November. That means mental health insurance can no longer be discriminated against. It's equally reimbursed to medicine now. And the Affordable Care Act, which just went into effect, that means it's available to everyone. So we're talking about 62 million new patients coming on the market. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Cloud9 has a great product. And we've also put together an all-star team so far right here in Texas. We're looking to grow that team. We're looking for iOS and Android and web developers, a digital marketing team as well. We'd like to see a strong component here in Texas for that. Of course, some of these other positions are more specialized: insurance and benefits sales. Mental health care professionals coming from all over the country, but we'd like to have a core team that we can meet with here on a regular basis. We're in the middle of our seed round, so we're also raising capital. And I can answer any questions after this, but my question, what can we do together to bring peace of mind to the world? Thanks. Yes?
How do you price and who's the payer?
The payer is, it can be private pay or through insurance. And the pricing in the beginning is based on $150 for an hour session. Later on, we're moving to a varied pricing model. Yes?
Is your service already covered by insurance?
Not for version 1, no. Version 1, we're private pay during our beta launch, which is happening now. And then later on, you can actually have that reimbursed after the fact, but we want to incorporate insurance directly within the app. Next version. Back here.
Are you expecting people to now be diagnosed on the phone and then you prescribe medication, or is it something after the fact, after you've been prescribed medication, then you use this method to manage that?
Some diagnoses can absolutely be made through telehealth, and it's been proven to be superior than having a general practitioner or someone in the ER try to figure out what prescription to give someone who's having mental issues. So absolutely, and there's ways that we can prescribe through other mobile apps as well. Here?
How do you source your providers, and how do you get a personality match? Because you mentioned previously that you match by personality.
Correct. We're in the process of recruiting right now. We're going to associations, bigger healthcare networks. We're working through the existing healthcare ecosystem as much as possible, even though we want to disrupt it. For finding that match, originally it's a Yelp-based type system, peer-reviewed. You get to see metadata on people's bios. Later versions, we want to, of course, have a matching algorithm. Yes, here.
I'm certainly not an expert in any of this at all, but I mean, this has been classified as a soft science, right? So you can have somebody talk to somebody about depression and the other issues that you're having, as opposed to like, you have cancer, then you don't have cancer, you're cured, right? So do you have any verifiable data on outcomes versus an inpatient visit with a mental health care professional versus someone who just does it via your service? That human component, I would imagine, is kind of huge in that relationship.
Yeah, body language is a huge component in communication, as you can tell. But there's been tons of studies on telehealth and why it really works for mental health care. The pros outweigh the cons. The trade-offs of the fact that people are willing to open up more through telehealth when they're in a comfortable environment and they are willing to actually approach a service like this versus not even getting into mental health care because they don't want to go travel somewhere and lay on someone else's couch. The benefits exceed any trade-offs with body language. Plenty of studies there. As for our quantified self and behavioral analytics, we're pioneering a new model there. I can't tell you how that's going to help, but all the research that we have that's bleeding edge tells us that can absolutely help by bringing more science to what can often be an inexact science, more data to this. So yeah, we're trying to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to our last presenter, and that is Andrew Ochoa.
Get it right, Ochoa, you got it right. Most people don't.
How do I use this? Just, you can either use a clicker or just use the down. It's on the other side. There you go.
So thank you, the Tech Map, for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Andrew Ochoa. I've been in sales and marketing for several years now. With a few different startups. Most recently, I was with a company called Outbound Engine. I think they're a Capital Factory graduate, as a matter of fact. They're here downtown. But in any case, I'm here to talk about a company that I'm starting called Waverly Labs, or Waverly for short. And the whole idea behind Waverly is creating new innovations in devices, really. Specifically tonight, I'm here to talk about wearable technology, right? So, there we go. Wearable technology is really hot right now. A lot of new ideas coming out every day, every month. Smartwatches, fitness trackers, Google Glass, whatever category Google Glass is in. There's a lot of emerging ideas, but I feel like there's a category that's being overlooked. And what I'm talking about specifically is a Bluetooth headset. And it's fair to say that Bluetooth headsets really aren't considered wearable tech. They're really thought of more as cell phone accessories, right? But the whole idea is to take that headset and turn it into something that's more stylish and take it from what people consider to be kind of a pretentious or dorky design and make it something more stylish that the everyday person would be interested in wearing, and truly interacts with your everyday life like a true wearable tech device. So here's what I'm talking about. Right now I just call it the Pilot, but it's a redesign of the Bluetooth headset. Right, it's meant to be sleek and modern and easily wearable, so it doesn't feel obtrusive in any way. It integrates with your smartphone to offer a full array of features. Things like voice-activated control, right? To utilize Siri or Google Now or whatever you're using on your smartphone without you actually having to pull out your phone to use that feature, right? That's why it's just a way for you to conveniently utiliise your smartphone's AI, right? That's why it's there. You've got other features like speech to text for emailing and text messaging, push to talk to instantly be connected to anyone else using a device similar to this. Music streaming as well, and a few other ideas. You kind of get the picture here. Now these are just preliminary designs, but it gives you an idea of the vision that I have for the device itself, right? So why am I here tonight? Well, my background's in business. Every company every tech startup has an engineering team. Right, so I'm looking for that CTO co-founder who has an interest in this space. Someone who preferably has experience working with devices like this, but I'm more interested, just as eager to find someone who sees the potential in this kind of device and has an interest in this space, as long as they have a fundamental engineering background to be able to build this with me. Obviously, as far as other team members go, I'm looking for software developers and engineers to design and build the architecture of the software itself. Mobile app developer. Obviously, this has a high utilization of an intelligent app to utilize all its features that I envision. Designer, a UI and UX designer to design the interface. Preferably someone with industrial design experience, but as long as they have the capacity to learn that aspect, that's fine. So that's really it in a nutshell. I want to keep this real simple, real short, end of the night. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to answering any questions, hearing any feedback, and meeting those who have an interest in this idea. Thank you.
You mentioned the features of that headset, Bluetooth headset. Are they available right now? These are available right now. The Bluetooth streaming that is said in the list there. They're available right now with all the headsets. So what is new?
Yeah. Right. So all of these features are available right now. The main thing is that it's a redesign. The main goal, the main concept here is that it's a redesign of current technology. It's innovating current technology, right? I'm not trying to create something brand new. Things like text-to-speech, voice-activated control, push-to-talk, music streaming. These are all features that are currently exist on some, not all, but some Bluetooth headset models. But the main idea is redesigning the headset itself to make it more attractive for their everyday user. Right? Makes sense? Yeah. I haven't really gotten to that point. That's like step 20. I'm on step 2. Most headsets, range from like 99 to 150, somewhere like that. So unless you're talking about the lower model, get 49. But as far as like evaluating the price or that structure, that's not something I've really gotten into yet. Let's just see if we can build it.
Is this a product and concept to build and then sell to another company, or are you bring this to market yourself?
No, actually, I'd like to bring it to market. Yeah, bring it to market as a company as Waverly. Right. Yeah. Consumer market, maybe even B2B.
Have you made any inroads into consumer marketing or so on?
No. That's like step 20. I'm on step 2. We're still in the discovery phase, so let's see if we can build a team and finding the interest, getting good feedback.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There's one.
Hi everybody, my name is Johan Borch. I'm the CMO for the TechMap and the co-founder. You guys probably saw me. I wanted to say, one of the things that we have are brilliant ideas and things that people are coming up with here in Austin. And for the next event in February, we wanted to see if the people wanted to engage and give their 60-second pitch, maybe have like 3 or 5 of them to just say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, kind of what he said. But then find a team that actually helps them build so they can present something that will be more flourished to present to everybody here. At the same time, create something new and be innovative here in Austin. That's one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention, there's a couple of events coming up. We're gonna be launching San Francisco next month. If you guys wanna get a builder's pass for free, just email us at team@TechMap and we'll get you one of those as well. We're going to be South by Southwest, and I think we're going to be giving more details about that later by email. And we're going to be probably having an event here during that time. So if you guys want to have pitches during that time, let us know. Get you in. What else am I missing today? Other than that, thanks for coming. And if you have any questions, if you guys want to volunteer as well, please email us at team@TechMap, and we can get you to help us set up this event, and it'll be a little bit more organized and get you guys great food and great drinks as well. Thank you guys.